With more than 20,000 people now known to have died after Monday's earthquakes in southern Türkiye and northern Syria, a South African team is among those providing humanitarian aid there. Newzroom Afrika's Ahmed Kajee is in Türkiye alongside aid organisation Gift of the Givers and joins me now live from Hyatt. Ahmed, good to catch up with you. Now, just give us some insight into the work that Gift of the Givers is doing, having travelled along with you from South Africa, and also if the deadly disaster has impacted any Africans, and certainly what the African embassies in Türkiye and Syria might be doing to assist them.
Thanks very much, Hugo. A very big challenges is what we have seen since the time we left Johannesburg on Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. It's been a 3 days worth of traveling. We've had major logistical challenges. That's been probably the core of what we have seen over the last few days as well. Just to take you through some of the challenges that the Gift of the Givers organizations and many of the aid organizations are actually facing is just firstly the language barrier is a major challenge, and then also the fact that the aid organization here, at least the organization which AFAD, which is the disaster management organization, which more or less collaborates and designates where each of the relief aid organizations are going to be designated towards. The big challenge that they have had is that there's more than 160,000 teams on the ground from different parts of the world. You can understand the magnitude of what that would take to actually organize all of these organizations to go to specific areas. And that's been some of the major challenges which we have found as well. Today we are out in Adana, which is a just 200 kilometer drive from where we are right now, and is being used operating centers, and just a center also for keeping some of the victims of the deadly earthquakes which struck on Monday morning. Just to take you through where we are right now, that 200 kilometer drive took us 8 hours. We left just after 11 a.m. this morning, and we arrived just after between 7 and 8 p.m. The traffic was exceptionally gridlocked. Unfortunately, many people, relief organizations, ambulances, emergency services, all coming through from Adana, making their way down this way, which resulted in extreme delays on the roads. It's also unfortunate that many of the people who require aid, unfortunately, could not make it as well. And just speaking to some of the challenges as well, the reason you have all of these supplies put on the floor and the tents as well is the Gift of the Givers team unfortunately had a few complications with the logistics that we were meant to have when we had arrived at the stadium. And these tents, which the team has brought along from South Africa, have been pitched up. And this is where many of these volunteers and these rescue workers will be spending the night and potentially the next few nights as well. That's just some of the unfortunate circumstances which they are facing, just due to the fact that there wasn't any tents which were made available initially by AFAD, which is that organization, a national organization which collaborates with NGOs coming through as well. Just speaking towards the death toll as well. Earlier today we had recorded that it was more than 16,000 between Türkiye and Syria. That number is going to increase significantly going forward as more people are found, with more time continuing as well. That 72 hours golden window expires today, and unfortunately it seems that it will become a search and recovery operation going forward. That is some of the perhaps the negative aspects of what we will be seeing as well. But the team over here does remain hopeful that we will be finding more victims who are still alive, that we can recover and take them through to the necessary medical centers as well. This is obviously in collaboration with various other teams and organizations coming from different parts of the country and from the world. The Ukraine sending through relief teams. They sent through 87 rescuers. Yesterday we saw some Russian search and rescue teams also coming through. We have people from the Republic of China, from Croatia, from the United Kingdom. They have all made their way through to at least engage in the relief efforts over here as well. Social Aid, Al-Imdad Foundation, Hope South Africa, they all came through from the local South African context to make their way into this particular region. And they actually are, across Türkiye as well. Some of them are going to Gaziantep as well, which is another part which has been severely affected by this earthquakes, both the 7.7 and 7.6 magnitude earthquakes taking place between that 12-hour period, which is exceptionally devastating on this area. Just seeing as though we have a stadium such as this one, the structural integrity is really compromised as well. But it is being used as a mobile, a joint operating center for many of the emergency services to get their operations going, and also to house a few of the victims of this particular disaster, which has claimed the lives of thousands, displaced millions, and unfortunately this is going to take years to repair. The airports in and around the area, in and around the country rather, have faced severe difficulties in that their runways have been severely compromised. From an international aviation organization, their regulations would dictate that aircraft cannot land there without those runways being in optimal condition. So many people are needing to land either in Adana or in Istanbul and then making their way by road to the areas which are in severe need of that aid, and that's causing further delays and unfortunately further loss of life. We are hoping to obviously have the team carry out the official search and rescue operation starting tomorrow morning. Given the cold weather, it's currently between -1 and 2 degrees Celsius. That's perhaps the conditions which not just the South African officials, but global organizations and residents are facing. That's making it exceptionally difficult. But we'll be hoping to get their search and rescue equipment up and running tomorrow, so that the South African side, and from the gift of the givers and the South African search and rescue teams, they can get their teams up and running as soon as possible so they can get their search and rescue operations going. Hugo.
Ahmed, now we know that Africans have traveled all over the world, possibly including countries like Türkiye. Do you know if there have been any African casualties?
That is still unclear from the African Union side, as well as the countries which have issued out statements as well. But given that those joint statements are coming through from 16,000 plus, we do know that there were South African residents out in Turkey when this particular when these earthquakes had struck. Unfortunately, there is no clarity on how many African people were in Turkey at the time, because given its geographical position, its close proximity to North Africa, it wouldn't be a far stretch to say that many Africans would have been affected by these earthquakes. Unfortunately, those official figures can only come out at a later stage. It's this first week or so after the devastating earthquake, and a national disaster such as this one. The primary objective is to just to make people alive as possible, and it seems to be the only situation when it comes to sorting out those who happen to be deceased is to just the tallies and the numbers up to scratch involved. From a South African perspective, the Turkish embassy in Johannesburg and in Pretoria had their main objective was to get the rescue teams out towards Turkey, courtesy of Turkish Airlines. They were up and running from the word go with the gift of the givers. Hope SA had also left. So on that front, one wouldn't, it wouldn't be a far stretch to think that many of the South Africans, perhaps Africans rather, would have been involved and perhaps fallen victim in some way or form to the earthquakes which have stricken this region. In fact, coming into this area, we saw houses across, buildings across the country and across the region, either completely destroyed, partially destroyed, and you see the structures being severely compromised. In fact, on the floor coming into the stadium over here, unfortunately, I can't show it to you as close as I would have liked to, but there's cracks on the ground as well, and that's the reason the stadium still remains exceptionally compromised. Perhaps rather dangerous, but this seems to be the best point in this region for us to actually have some sort of a joint operating center, and for many of the rescue teams to set up a base camp so that they can make their way to different areas and carry out their search and rescue operations. Here you go.
Ahmed Kajee from Newzroom Afrika, coming to us from Hayat in Turkey, giving us an up-to-date on what's transpired so far